Welcome to Mama's Space, a podcast wherein moms can relax, reflect, and connect with others through their stories and experiences. Being a mom is a challenging, beautiful adventure that shouldn't be navigated alone. Join me as I connect with fellow moms about their journey into motherhood. We'll get down to the nitty-gritty and chat about the joy, the tears, the mess, and all the love that comes with being a parent. Hello everybody, I'm your host Brittany Miller and you've tuned in to Mama's Space. In this episode I'm sharing a special conversation that I had with my friend Lucinda. We met through our antenatal classes, surprisingly enough, and were able to navigate the end of pregnancy, giving birth, and now raising kids together. We often hang out, but it's obviously quite tricky to connect on a deeper level when you're running after your toddlers, and our toddlers are both very busy. So I'm very glad we've been able to sit down and chat a little more deeply. I hope that you enjoy this, that something resonates with you, and yeah, let's dive straight in. Great. Yeah, so I'm very excited to chat with you today. As we we're just saying now, obviously life is very busy and we do hang out often, but we're running after our kids. So having a moment of peace now where we can actually sit down and chat, I think is really great. I know nap time is really precious time for moms. So I know there's millions of things you could be doing, but I'm thankful that you are able to hang out and chat with me now for a bit.
Yeah, no, it's not a problem. It is quite nice to have a change of having to do chores.
Yeah,
so.
the never-ending list of chores and laundry and all the things.
Yes.
Yeah. But to start things off, why don't you tell everyone a bit about yourself and your family?
I am Lucinda. My name's Lucinda. Sorry, that sounds like really weird.
Not at all.
Because obviously I know you, but obviously I'm telling everyone else.
Telling the world, yes.
And I am a mom to a very, very busy. I mean, I think our kids are basically almost, same sort of level of energy.
Yeah, they match each other's energy
compared to some others. Yeah, he's almost 18 months old now, and his name is Brody. And yeah, I am married. My husband's name's Sean, and we live in the southern suburbs in Cape Town. And at the moment, we are staying with my parents-in-law, which is a blessing and obviously difficult too, because we need our own space. But before becoming a mom, and I still am, but I actually haven't had time for it, I started a business making soft toys called Nesting in lockdown. But just since having, I never realized the challenges of how busy it would be having a child, and that the levels of sort of maybe even anxiety to not, almost like, especially a newborn, not wanting to leave them with someone else, but like a stranger, put it that way. Because I mean, I was more confident with family. Yeah, sorry, don't even know, I'm rambling on here, but yeah, I have we're very, very thankful to have two sets of grandparents nearby. So
yeah, we need all the help we can get. Yeah, so it can be it's a full-on thing, and I think it's a very big adjustment. But to keep things light, to start off with, I guess, what do you enjoy most about being a mom?
I think there's so many things. There's like the just, I don't know, waking up and to your child, even though they wake you up early or throughout the night, because I'm still breastfeeding. But yeah, basically just seeing their little face and the changes and how they're growing every day and like developing. I mean, everything's just new. It's it's an amazing adventure. That is so worth it, even though I think when we tend to meet, sometimes we're like moaning about everything because it's difficult, and who else do you moan to or talk talk about an offload, and but just seeing the changes and the joy that they get seeing like the world through their eyes, basically. And them exploring and learning, it's incredible. And yeah, I've always wanted to be a mom. So, but obviously I didn't want to be a mom too young, and I wanted to be able to travel and explore and everything first. But like I'm really enjoying every moment, even the difficult ones, because I know it won't be, through difficulty, you enjoy the good moments, and also it's not going to be forever. Oh, speaking of which, I think he's just woken up.
And insert ad break. Just kidding, guys. He woke up from his nap, so Lucinda had to go, but we did get together to do a part 2. So just a little disclaimer, if the audio sounds a bit different, that's the case. But I'm sure you can relate. Mom life, we arrange things, the kids wake up from their naps early. These things happen. But let's dive back in.
That's the thing about like being a mom. When you get them down, you don't know when they're going to wake up, and it's like you're like, oh, do I make myself a cup of coffee, or do I do I go hang out the washing or like pack up their toys?
How much time will I have during this nap today?
Yeah.
Was it going to be 20 minutes? But I also find it's the days where you think it's going to be a short one, it's a really long nap. And then you're
and then you,
I could have done more with this time.
Yeah, I know, like that extra, like I bank on at least an hour, and if you get like, I'm like, not today, that didn't work out. But
yeah,
I'm starting to love the fact that like in the last few weeks he's started to want to play more and like use his imagination, and then he comes and calls me and wants me to play with him, and just like pretend I'm like the little horse or the figurine or whatever he's got some new Duplo, and just loves like playing with that, or bringing me his cars or toys, and sort of if I'm not engaging, he will try and engage with me if for like a moment I'm busy trying to do some admin or something on my computer, and then he'll just
come over and want your attention,
because it's almost like impossible to try to do that, but you kind of, there's that guilt where you're like, oh, I need to do this, but then you're like, no, I need to actually be engaging with them. But
it's so hard to find that balance between like needing to get everything done that needs to be done, but also being present and engaged. And it's like, how do you make it all work? It can be quite challenging. Would you say that that's been the biggest challenge for you, is navigating time and responsibilities, or has there been something else that's been particularly challenging in this season?
I think it's probably that, and maybe some sort of a guilt of like, thinking I could do it all, maybe. It's kind of like, I remember the beginning, especially like the first few months, it was kind of like being on a roller coaster where you like, you don't, I mean, you never want to get off it really, but like there's so many ups and downs and like new experiences, and it's amazing, but it's also can be like, I want to say they're like highs and lows. Yeah. But like, it's not like, I mean, the highs make up for like any lows. But I mean, it's an incredible adventure. And, I feel like
change.
You can never like say what it's going to be like. I suppose that's with anything, because people sometimes, you study a profession and you're thinking it's going to be a certain way, and then you do, or you just imagine something, and the experience is completely different to how, well, not in a bad way, but like it's often different to what you think. And I mean, it's never like, I think the thing is, there's no on and off switch with being a mom. Yeah. I mean, I was an au pair in Germany over 20 years ago out of a matric, looking after 4-year-old twins. And that was quite an incredible, interesting experience.
I'm sure.
But like basically they weren't my children. So it was, obviously I loved them as much as anyone could if they aren't your own, but I'm not the mother, and that's different. But it is an amazing adventure to be a parent. But
I mean, you make a good point. There's no off switch. We are just on, and it can be quite challenging in that I think maybe dads or, people who help and support in the family, there's more
Mhm.
flexibility for them in terms of like the hands-on time with the kids, but
Yeah.
we are very much the hands-on.
Yeah. That said, I'm glad I'm not in the generation of like, I want to say the 60s, but what I mean, it was before that, and too even the 80s, some of the 80s, or where like parents, some of the males were not as hands-on. Like some
Mm.
men didn't even change a nappy, or
Yeah, true.
even really sometimes weren't even there. I know my grandmother, who she sadly passed away last year, but she was um 93. She
Wow.
basically, I think she had 5 kids, and my mom was saying the other day that my grandfather was not there in the like room for any of the births,
Oh, wow.
which
Very
I
different to
found,
how it is today.
yes. Yeah. Yeah, it's very different. And yeah, I mean, my husband Sean is a wonderful dad, and he does everything he can. Obviously, he's working full time, and it's a lot of other pressures for people like
Yeah.
for him. Um, but yeah, I mean, he does an amazing job as a dad,
Mm.
and like
Yeah,
he
that's
helps
great.
as much as he can. I know he would help more if I probably led him to, because
Right.
kind of
Okay. Oh, tell me a bit more. What do you mean by that?
no, just like the letting go sometimes, like I
Yeah.
could go and take time to myself, and especially like on a weekend, or say, if I wanted a day to just do something, I could. And I do for chores mainly, but when it's something, and I have actually gone for a massage once, and that was amazing. And I actually have 2 more massages I got for my birthday that I need to go
Yeah, I must use
and
them.
use. But yeah, I feel like I should do that more.
Mm.
Um,
What do you think stops you?
um, like maybe that like guilt, or like feeling like I shouldn't be doing it, but I shouldn't be taking time to do that.
Right.
I think it'll get easier as Brody gets a bit older. And it is, I think, getting a little bit easier.
Yeah.
I think it's just trying to find that balance, and that shift from, becoming a mom, and taking that time.
Mm.
And I just think I need to just make it more of a priority, and do it. And
Yeah.
but speaking of which, like I've adapted. It's easier for dads to get out and do their exercise or go do something, just because it is easier, especially, they're not the ones breastfeeding and doing that.
Yeah.
Um, so I need, the shift of like, I've had to, well, if I can't get out by myself or make that time, then I must make that time with my son. And so when he was about 8 or 9 weeks old, that was when I happened to find out about this mom's hiking group called Moms
Yeah.
Who Hike. And every Friday morning we go hiking in Cape Town in the mountains. Yeah, it's a different place every week, but sometimes we go to like Newlands Forest, and sometimes Townside. And the thing is, if the baby has to be in a carrier or toddler, it could be a back carrier or front, but I've only had Brody on the front carrier, so now he's like at least 11 kgs. And
Wow.
obviously I've built up my strength.
Yeah, totally.
And yeah, we go out and we experience nature, and it's really great for like both of our states of mind, especially for the moms. And
Mm.
you meet like other moms, and it's been
Getting
amazing.
outdoors,
And
fresh air.
yes, and I think I'm actually maybe even stronger than since becoming a mom, like physically,
Yeah.
but maybe
I
even
mean,
mentally too.
carrying a
But
kid
like,
around all the time.
yeah, yeah, like stronger than I was before. And before I had him, before I fell pregnant, I was actually going to gym like at least 5 times a week,
Oh,
doing like
wow.
weight training, strength. I was trying to get my body like incredibly prepared for, falling pregnant, and just healthy, and
Carrying a
yes,
child.
carrying it.
Yeah.
Yeah. so
Mm.
that is like an amazing thing, that to be able to be out in nature, and to just meet other moms, and the friendship we've made as well, from our meeting in our antenatal class. And
Yeah.
I think I sent a shout out to say, does anyone want to go meet for a coffee,
Yeah.
when we were pregnant, and like, or meet for a drink. And
Yeah,
yeah,
I
you
still remember.
replied. And
We went to
yeah,
Vida and
yes,
yeah,
yeah.
had it over a coffee. It was good.
Yeah, and just like, I think I've met like so many moms, and I feel so bad because one or two of them I haven't actually messaged recently because it's just been, life just gets so busy, and I feel horrible because, like you just sometimes feel, I won't use a word, like this is the wrong word, like to say drowning, but like, it's not the right word. It's like you just trying to, to keep up with everything. And then you can't manage everything. And you think you've actually messaged people or replied. And then you're like, oh my gosh, I need to message this person. And it's not like you don't think about them. You just haven't at that moment.
And just
I
kind
need
of
to actually
juggle all the things.
Yeah.
The mom brain is real.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, but that's great. And I'm glad you've been able to still get out and, working out essentially and getting active. And I mean, getting outdoors, I know we've both had that experience, but if the kids are grouchy, just getting outdoors and fresh air, I think can make such a big difference.
Yeah, I just want to say, like right now, when they on this toddler and the high energy that our kids both have, literally you get so much. I mean, you may not get much talking in, but we get running and and like exercise in from literally running after them because you can't turn your back with them if they're not in confined space.
You blink and they're climbing something.
Which at least they're becoming more confident in that, and then you don't have to stress as much that they're gonna injure themselves, and finding play areas that are safer for them that you don't have to stress as much too.
I feel like that's part of the challenge. There aren't enough places in Cape Town, world, please know this, that are safe for toddlers, It's tricky. Like I went to somewhere yesterday that had a little playground and I was really excited because I was like, okay, we could have like a coffee and she can be running around. But it's like this tall, it's just a tall slide and a big like little house on the top and that's it. And not really safe. So we need more places like that for this toddler range.
Yes. I feel like if the city of Cape Town or if anyone here, I don't know who does the planning for playgrounds, but I feel like they need like a whole group, to get a group together of parents, especially if it's like a toddler playground or and actually get them around and say, what can we do to make this safe, especially enclosing an area, because often a park isn't fenced off or enclosed and like not properly, and
it's easy for them to wander off.
Yes.
I literally I've been thinking about emailing someone who's part of like the Belvedere Square, who particularly for the Vida, and being like, yes, I'm willing to help you make it more toddler friendly, because that playground in particular is quite a death trap. But oh well, we'll just have to keep venturing out and finding places.
And speaking of safety, we were about to start building a house. And so I have to we have to obviously make sure that's safe for him, because it's literally on the property that I live with my parents-in-laws. We're going to be building like a double story. So we'll finally eventually have our own space, but basically in the space of just under 2.5 years, I fell pregnant, got married, had a child, and now going to be building a house. But it was, it was planned. Just the house would have possibly been built. Not the timeline of the house, at least. But Brody was probably the most planned of it.
I'm very excited. But I mean, I'm sure it's been challenging living in a space where you don't have your own proper space, if that makes sense. You're sharing the kitchen and the common areas, and you don't have an area where you can really be. How have you navigated that, and how have you found it's affected how you parent and also how you just engage with your husband?
I think trying to set boundaries or an understanding, but it has been difficult. But I guess also becoming a new parent is difficult. So I've been basically just learning to take moments if you do feel stressed or frustrated, or it's usually because of the lack of sleep, I think. It's usually that that sort of set it off. Like at the beginning, when they're little, you don't get much sleep, and then that could cause like frustration or maybe arguments in general, and then you have to just learn like, oh my gosh, this is not really like me. And I think it's getting better also because there's a out like a knowledge that the house is going to be built. And yeah, I mean, and then when we have our own space, it'll be so much easier for everyone. Yeah, I mean, I love having family and having support there, so that's also amazing.
Yeah. I think it's also okay to acknowledge that it has been challenging. And I mean, you had a very different timeline for when it was theoretically going to be done, and that's been pushed out. And that has been hard. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that it has definitely been hard. But looking back, I mean, I'd rather have like if there is a hard time, I'd rather have it now than later in a way. I don't know, because then I also think like difficult times make you appreciate the good times, and I've had far more challenging times in my life than this. So,
season, yeah.
like this is literally, this is more. Yeah, I don't think it's much compared to.
It feels more doable.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. But, I mean, I think you make a good point. Like perspective goes a long way in this season, and they also change so quickly. But it is hard when you're in the moment to think of the bigger picture.
Yeah,
you just get sucked into whatever's happening at the time.
I know you actually, as a parent, I think, especially like, I mean, I want to say as a mom because my experience is as a mom, but like you have to learn to just try and let go of things. And I found I've like even it's weird because I have like, I didn't realize I had this, I don't want to say I have OCD, but I didn't realize I had this, almost like OCD when your child is like playing and they just like, something is not like in perfect order. Just want to make it in perfect order. And now I've learned like, okay, no, maybe, that puzzle can't be perfectly done all the time because how they're going to learn how to pull it apart or how they, so
Yeah.
wait, they finish playing to like put it back together. And I think it's also because it's not completely my own space. So I feel like, oh, if they, if Brady's made a mess, I'm like, I need to clean it up straight away.
Yeah.
Or everything needs to look perfect.
Yeah, I get that.
I guess life can't always look 100% perfect, and it isn't. And it's also amazing that things aren't perfect because who would want something to be perfect all the time?
Yeah. But I can totally relate to you in that. So I've always been quite a orderly, clean person, but I've like made it my mission to try carry that into having a kid, which is obviously, I mean, I feel like I'm immediately setting myself up to failure, but cleaning and just some order, I think, can go a long way for your mental state. And I know it's really helped me. Like every night, once Haley's gone to bed, I'll like clean the kitchen and just organize the toys and stuff so you're not like stepping on things. And I just feel like you start the next day on a good note, even if the day before was a disaster. So obviously you need to have a balance, but some order I think can go a long way.
Yeah, like a room, a resetting the room, and and then you like feel okay. It actually made like when I do that, if I've had to organize, even if I don't get as much time to relax, like just folding or packing away clothes or getting something sorted, it just helps a lot, like for just your mind, and then you can sort of relax. That was one thing also was from when he was born, I made sure that every day I could at least have a shower.
Okay.
Even if it was like just a few seconds to make myself, because for me that was something I was worried that, oh my gosh, I'm not going to be able to have a shower or clean myself, be like, and hygiene for me was something I was like, okay, no, I have to at least have a shower. And I'm very grateful that Sean usually takes Brody in the morning, like when he wakes up for a bit, and then I get to have a shower, and sometimes I get to even have a little bit of extra sleep. So if I've had a bad night, especially, and that is amazing.
Yeah, that's cool, and I think that's important. I mean, I don't know about you, but you just look on Instagram and you just get, it's quite horrifying. You just see all these videos of these moms who are like recording themselves, and the caption is like, I haven't slept yes, but I also haven't showered in like 4 days. And I'm like, oh, I mean, it's hard. But I feel like try find a way to at least have a shower just to kind of cleanse yourself. And yeah, it's challenging, but I'm glad you've been able to fit that in.
Yeah, I mean, I get that. Like, it's difficult. It's often very difficult. Like, I remember one or two times like a few times actually, I would have to take Brody into the shower, like the bathroom with me. But like
Yeah.
he was small enough that he could just be in like a little cushion thing, whatever. I can't even think of the name now. Like a darker tot, and literally be like
Just be there, but
watching.
be near, yeah.
Yes, or then I had the monitor, and we didn't have a monitor for the first 10 months. So at this one thing, I would say get a monitor, just or something. So
Yes.
because we would hear hardy dars and think it was him
I
crying.
think it was him. Oh no.
Strangely, he loves the noise of a hardy dar. So,
Yeah.
and making the hardy dar noise now. So yeah.
Yeah, I also having a monitor, it can be a really good thing, good to recommend to new parents out there.
Yeah.
But so speaking of being a parent and becoming a parent, what do you think surprised you the most about becoming a mom?
Oh gosh, that's a very difficult question. There's more than one thing, I think. I think maybe it was, I don't want to say it was harder than I thought. There was like so many different things, but just, I guess I think mainly like love, like just the capacity to sort of love and like expand it, like it's expanded more because I've
Yeah.
always like loved like caring for things. Especially like grew up caring for animals and sharing my bed with like ducks, chickens, any different type of animal growing up. And parrots and hand-reared parrots from when when they hatched. So feeding every 2 hours, like round the clock. But
So it prepared you for what you're doing now.
I wouldn't. People always said like it's going to prepare you. You're going to be a great parent, but it's different. You can't compare a dog to a child because you can leave a dog at home.
Yeah.
You can't leave your child home alone. Like not as a young child. So it is different. And I mean, the benefits are you can take your child anywhere, basically almost anywhere, except if it's a fancy restaurant. Yeah. So, I mean,
okay. So the capacity to love was something that surprised you the most.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think so. It's a very difficult question.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot. There's a lot to it, and it is a big change. Becoming a parent and life before and life after kids.
Yeah. Maybe like also anxiety. My levels of like anxiety, things you worry about as a parent.
Okay.
Like there's like new fears that are unlocked at the beginning, particularly. I think like because we're hoping to have another one at some point, and I'm thinking like maybe the second time round it'll be easier in terms of like knowing. I feel like I was quite a calm parent, but
I would agree
maybe
with that.
deep down inside I was like a little bit anxious about certain things that I probably like remained calm about, but I also
internally there was a lot going on. Yeah, and I feel like you have to do that a lot of the time. You can't be losing it all the time. That's definitely something I'm struggling with at the moment, is the toddler stage and the big feelings and trying to just keep your composure. It's a big thing.
Yeah, then you need like hopefully someone else is able to step in if you just need like 5 minutes to yourself or something. Or just a little bit of a break sometimes.
Yeah, definitely. So you mentioned like potential of another one down the line. What has been your favorite stage of having a kid so far, between the newborn to now, were you navigating a toddler?
I'd say I like all of them. The newborn's lovely too, but there was a stage when Brody was very like frustrated that he couldn't walk, that he couldn't crawl, so I think I quite like this stage now because even though it's so busy, he can communicate more, and it's this whole new world opening up to him. I mean, from birth there is, but like it's just he's like developing so fast and so quickly, and I'm enjoying this stage. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you?
Yeah, I think the newborn stage is very much a blur to me. That it could possibly be all the painkillers from the Caesar. But I think, yeah, I think I look forward to having a newborn again, kind of feeling more confident the second time around and embracing that experience a bit more. But I think I agree with you. I'm definitely enjoying the age now where they can communicate a lot better. And so if something's going wrong, you can kind of navigate, what's wrong and help them. And also all the new words that they start to say. And it's so cute, like trying to translate for others what your kid is saying. It's like internal language that you have with them and are able to
Yeah.
understand. And I think that's quite special. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, like Brody now, there's certain books that he will say words like boo, which is for his one peekaboo book, and he literally like will ask for things, and I'm trying to figure out some of the time, but then I'm like, oh, you want that one?
Mm.
So yeah.
Yeah. It keeps it fun and keeps it interesting. What is something that you want to change? And that can be open ended in terms of your approach, in terms of something you do for you, on the more practical side.
I think maybe learning to let go of things, like by let go is maybe to let other people look after him, because I probably want to get more into like back into work
Hmm.
more. And then I need to learn to
Be okay with him being
let
with
him.
others. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I am up to a point, but like for longer periods of time,
Yeah.
and just making a bit more time for myself, like
Hmm.
scheduling time, and then more time for like Sean and I as well. I mean, just finding more of a balance with things.
Yeah. When last did you guys go on a date or like do something that was just the two of you?
It was probably maybe a month ago. I don't know, a few weeks ago. But that said, we every night we do something together, like watch some TV or something.
Okay.
And now with the house, we're going to be doing more like planning for that. But
Yeah.
that's more sort of admin. I mean, some of it's going to be fun because looking at like finishes and things, which will be exciting.
Yeah.
But
Choosing all the fun things for the house.
yeah, but we actually have a couples massage that we have as well that we have to go for. So
You've lined up with massages. You must take it easy.
yeah, actually the one that was his Father's Day gift from Brody.
Cute.
So yeah.
Yeah. That's cool. Yeah. I mean, I think hanging out together and doing admin definitely counts. I think it's obviously harder to connect, especially in the week when you're tired and it's been a long day and all that kind of stuff. But even just hanging out.
What do you do? I know you like you and Simon like games nights and things.
Yeah, so we both enjoy board games, so we'll try fit that in regularly. And I mean, he's very passionate about board games and is always researching new games. And so we've got a couple recently, two-player, so we can just play it at home. So yeah, that's been nice to do, especially when you're just tired and brain dead. And
Yeah,
it also, I mean, it's hard not to get sucked into series. I could just watch series all the time when I can, and but obviously that does nothing for you. So it's nice to like
yeah,
sit in the lounge, drink some tea, the heater's on, and we play a game. Um, but we also make a point of going out and doing stuff. So we're lucky and blessed that we have family support and people who are willing to help and willing aunties who babysit. Yeah, so we just try to squeeze those moments in when we can.
yeah. I feel like one of the things which we said, but at the moment it's a bit difficult with one nap a day for Brody. But like from the early on, we would sort of still take him out to do things. Sometimes I would be looking at myself and be like, oh my gosh, why did I decide to take him to the shop on my own and like having a meltdown or something? But then I've been looking at some like podcast, like not podcasts, but posts on Instagram or people who recommend, and they on like being more like, I don't know if the word's gentle parenting or that, but it was like,
Okay, yes.
worry about when your child has a fit in the supermarket, because they are learning to self-regulate. So don't worry about people judging you, and just get down to your child's level, just be there for them as they're experiencing it at this moment. And yeah, and also like, I feel bad if I ever judged a parent before I became a parent.
Definitely.
Because you don't know. And every child is different. So you don't know what works for you is not going to work for someone else. So if I had to give someone advice,
that's actually something I was going to ask you.
Yeah, just maybe like, I would say just do what works for you and what your gut tells you. Obviously, like there are some people who could give you advice, but don't choose too many people if you are going to go for people, or especially, no offense to parents, but they had you 40 years ago or whatever. They had you like a long time ago. They had their children a long time ago, and things have changed.
Yeah.
A lot of parenting styles, everything's still continuing to change, and do what obviously works for you and makes your child safe and is happiest for your family and because in the that's what counts, your family and what works for you, not what someone else is telling you to do.
Or follow this woman and then download her guide for great sleep, or
yes,
good introduction to solids. It's I mean, there's so much out there, and you just make a good point of it. You just have to do what works for you and what feels right for you and what works for your child and your family, because it's hard not to get sucked into comparison and all those things. When you become a parent, you have a new appreciation for your parents and what they did for you.
Yeah, I mean, the sacrifices probably both parents made, but obviously my mom was the stay-at-home mom, but like she basically would, give everything, and she still actually does. She's a very selfless person. She will give anything to anyone, even strangers, and it's just amazing. And I, if I had more time, I would do that, but to everyone, like, to help. I love to help people, but it's it's difficult because you can't help everyone. But basically, my mom would just would not care about she wouldn't put herself first, put it that way, and that's can be a blessing and also a curse, because you need to also have self-care, which I hope she did. I think she probably did when she had downtime sometimes. But like basically I would I rather would spend money on Brody now than myself, but I try not to buy too much, because you see, we don't actually need much experiences, and that is more important in life than something. I'm trying to tell myself that, sometimes I like something nice, but
totally
in the end, experiences have been the best, because before we had Brody, and actually before COVID in 2019, Sean and I traveled through Southeast Asia for 8 months.
That's cool.
Yeah, and we just literally we just had our backpacks and traveled, and didn't have any luggage in the hold till like right at the end when we came back home. But basically, we basically were like living on with whatever we had, and it was amazing. And maybe we get to do it again with children, but
you'll have a few more suitcases and toys.
Yes, different. Yeah,
that's cool, and I'm sure that was a really good bonding time for you guys as well.
Yeah, no, it was, and nice to experience different cultures, and I mean, it was amazing.
Yeah, that's cool. That's awesome. And so you've kind of said that advice to parents would be getting a monitor. So that's one thing. But is there anything else that you would advise new parents or pregnant women about entering into the new season that they're going into?
I would, well, if you said pregnant women, I would say maybe antenatal classes, or find a community of women who aren't going through the same sort of experience as you, like who have due dates near to you, and basically that sort of thing. And also, like, I mean, I went to an antenatal. We went to the same antenatal classes, but like basically the benefit of that, even Sean says, was like basically meeting people and just like that was mainly because obviously like you can read a lot of things, there's a lot of information out there.
Yeah.
It's just selecting what you need to, but like basically like regarding like a birth plan, I think it's important to not be too like, obviously it's difficult to say not be too stressed about it because it is something new, and obviously hospitals, if you do choose a hospital, you know, if someone chooses a hospital, it is like it can be daunting and scary, but like my birth plan was always whatever's the safest, and
Yeah.
like just, I don't know, to try and just be open to anything. But as a parent, you have to be, because you have another being now, and they're not going to do everything you want to do, and things don't always work out perfectly. So you just have to learn to be flexible. Just go with the flow if you can, even when they're like little, and just trust your gut. And you don't need everything for a child. Get secondhand when you can.
Yeah,
See if
you've
you
done
need
that
it
quite a bit,
first.
and you've found some great things.
Yeah, you don't like. There's so many things out there that they say a baby needs, and this is what you need to do, or you need to sleep train, or I don't know, maybe I'm regretting not sleep training now, but like, but shame. I mean, I wouldn't, I think the nurturing aspect and being, I'm enjoying that more. I wouldn't want to let my child just cry it out, not for extended periods of time if I ever did, because I mean, like, obviously sometimes they cry even when they're in your arms, and you can't actually console them because they're little and you don't really know what's going on sometimes. So but don't know if I answered that now.
No, that's cool. I think that's great. Good little nuggets of wisdom. So obviously time. I'm aware of time. But thank you so much for chatting with me and letting us finish our part 2 segment. It was great to just take a step back and have a moment just to chat properly, where we're not running off to the kids and get to know each other a little more deeply. So
I think we need to do this more often, whether it's on a podcast or not, because
definitely, I agree. And hopefully we'll get more opportunities to do that also now that the kids are getting older. So here's to the future. But thank you so much. And that's that for my conversation with Lucinda. I hope that you enjoyed this episode and that you leave the space feeling encouraged for the week to come. Listening back, I think I'm just left with a feeling of gratefulness for the women that I have around me to navigate this journey of being a mom. And it really is a roller coaster ride that shouldn't be navigated alone. So if you've been thinking about getting out there and connecting with other moms, but just feel scared or don't know where to start, I hope this will give you a little boost and a bit of encouragement just to put yourself out there. There's so many great connections for moms, and it just makes such a world of difference to your mental health and to know that you're not navigating it alone. So I hope that you enjoy the rest of your week, and we'll chat soon. Bye!